Every patient's journey is a chance for us to learn more about what really helps and what sometimes gets in the way of delivering best care.
When we share examples of care that have gone well, it can spark conversations, inspire colleagues, and lead to real learning.
But this kind of learning doesn't happen by accident. It needs organisational support to make sure feedback, reflection and sharing become part of our everyday routine.
Too often, staff providing emergency laparotomy care, whether part of the on-call surgical team or from the wider EmLap MDT, including colleagues in ED, radiology, anaesthesia, theatre, operations, critical care, or elderly care, never find out what happened before or after their team's involvement, let alone feedback about key time and quality standards.
What did we do well?
How did we achieve it?
When did the patient go to theatre?
What was found?
How did they do afterwards?
And what could we do even better next time?
With QI Notify EmLap, that missing feedback finally comes full circle, giving the entire EmLap MDT timely, meaningful insights into each patient's journey, and helping every member of the team reflect, learn, and strengthen care for the next patient who needs an emergency laparotomy.
QI Notify EmLap has robust data security built into every layer of both the application and its hosting environment. Access to the system requires completion of a two-factor authentication process, made user-friendly through the optional use of biometrics and passkeys.
You can securely access your hospital's case reviews from any internet-connected smart device, laptop, or desktop computer. As an end user, you will have view-only access to case reviews relating to patients who underwent an emergency laparotomy at your hospital, and you will be able to use the built-in reflection functionality.
A member of your hospital's administrative team will manage your account and ensure that patient data is uploaded securely. If, during your initial setup, you choose to allow QI Notify EmLap to send notifications, you will receive an alert each time a new case review is published.
Whether you access QI Notify EmLap from a smart device or a laptop or desktop, once you have logged in, you will be taken directly to your hospital case review list. At the top of the page is an advanced search tool allowing you to locate specific reviews quickly. Below this is a scrollable list of published case reviews, with the most recently published at the top.
Your local administrator should publish case reviews at two key points during a patient's journey: shortly after surgery as a one-operative review, and following discharge as a two-discharge review. Whenever a review is republished, it automatically overwrites the previous version, ensuring that any patient will only ever have a single active case review. Each review reflects the data as recorded in NELA at the time it was extracted. If you identify any data errors within QI Notify EmLap, it is important to correct these in the source data and then request the case review is republished.
Each patient's case review within the list includes a summary box displaying the patient's name, the date the review was published, and 4 coloured lozenges summarising key information. The yellow lozenge indicates whether the review is an operative or discharge review. The green and amber lozenges show the number of standards that appear to have been achieved or not achieved, respectively. The black lozenge indicates the patient's discharge status at the time of the NELA data extract.
Clicking anywhere within the summary box takes you directly to that patient's overview page. The top section of the page displays key patient details, allowing you to confirm that the correct case review has been selected. Clicking the Previous Versions Published button shows the dates and times when the original review and any subsequent updates were published.
Within the Emergency Laparotomy Care Standards summary box, clicking on the green or amber lozenges will take you to a filtered list of the standards that were achieved or not achieved, respectively. This functionality will be demonstrated later in the Standards chapter of this video. Beneath this section are the 5 core sections of each patient's case review. At the very bottom of the page, you will find a button to view any reflections you have already written about this patient. In this example, no reflections have yet been made. This functionality will be demonstrated later in the reflective writing chapter. This chapter covers Section 1 of Q I Notify EmLap, the narrative description of the patient's journey.
By scrolling through this section, you can easily view key details about the patient, their presentation to hospital, and a summary of events and interventions, such as
whether risk assessments were performed and what they showed,
the results of investigations,
why the patient needed surgery,
how urgent it was,
what was found,
and the operation performed.
If, as in this case, it is a discharge review, you will also see elements of the post-operative journey, such as the number of days on critical care and whether the patient was assessed by elderly care.
Furthermore, QI Notify EmLap includes functionality which allows hospitals to capture information beyond that included within the NELA dataset. For example, the information given to the radiologist on the CT request, or whether an elderly care review was face-to-face or virtual only.
At the bottom of the page is a button you use to move on to the EmLap journey timeline. This section of QI Notify EmLap presents a scrollable timeline of key events along each patient's journey, complementing the narrative description.
Each event on the timeline includes a timestamp and an indication of how long after admission or the preceding event the intervention occurred. This allows users to easily identify examples of excellent, timely care or instances of unintended delay.
If users have reflections or insights into factors that helped or hindered the delivery of time-critical care, these can be captured directly from the timeline. Beside each event, 3 dots open a menu. Tapping this reveals the feedback and reflection functionality.
Adding reflections is straightforward and will be demonstrated later in Chapter 5, Reflective Writing.
There are many standards applicable to emergency laparotomy care, but those adopted by NELA represent a core set against which care should always be assessed.
Although some of the NELA standards apply to every patient, others are only mandated for certain groups, even if they reflect good practice more generally. For example, arriving in theatre within 6 hours of presentation is benchmarked against patients who meet the RCSE criteria for requiring immediate surgery. QI Notify EmLap first identifies whether criteria are met and then assesses whether the relevant standard or standards were achieved.
You can access more detail about each standard and the principles behind it right within the platform. For example, in the section on assessing risk, there are links to the full standard as well as to the key elements that sit underneath, like ASA grade, urgency or frailty. The ASA and urgency pop-outs emphasise how these assessments can be interpreted in the setting of a patient needing an emergency laparotomy.
It's not necessary to scroll through the entire standards section. From the patient overview page, you can simply tap Opportunity to Improve to see the standards marked Not Achieved, or All Looking Good to see those marked Achieved. Whichever way they choose to view them, the standards adopted by NELA always appear at the top, followed by other important clinical standards.
Further down the page, you'll find the standards that relate to the quality of the source data. These are particularly useful for NELA leads as they highlight how complete, accurate and timely the data entry has been, making it easy to confirm both time and date data were added for each question, or as demonstrated here, spot where questions are missing data. In a similar way, QI Notify EmLap makes it very easy to rapidly confirm if the person who originally entered the NELA data gave a definitive answer to each question, as in this case, review, or, as in this example, use the unknown option within EmLap.
Finally, QI Notify EmLap provides a simple list of any questions which were unanswered in NELA at the time of the data extract.
At the bottom of every QI Notify EmLap page, there's a Reflections and Comments section where users can access the Reflections functionality to capture their thoughts. This can also be accessed from the timeline of care by tapping or clicking on the 3 dots beside each item. This makes it easy for users to reflect on a single step or the whole journey. In the timeline of the case review shown, the exacting standard of getting a patient to theatre within 6 hours of arrival was achieved, along with several other examples of excellent care, ultimately leading to a positive patient outcome. If you decide to reflect at this moment, you might pause and think, what helped us deliver this so well? Or how can we ensure it happens more often?
When adding a reflective note, you decide whether to keep it private, so only you can see it, or share it anonymously with local and central admin staff. Either way, no other end users ever see it, and even admin staff only see the content, not who wrote it. These reflections are then pooled to identify themes and help shape service improvement reports.
Radiology often plays a pivotal role in rapidly confirming, or ruling out, serious intra-abdominal problems. Decisions on whether to operate are heavily reliant on the CT findings.
QI Notify EmLap includes a dedicated section that brings together key details about the patient's presentation, CT findings, and ultimate operative outcomes, alongside timeline performance and communication statistics, giving clinicians a clear, integrated view of the patient's journey.
The final staff section of QI Notify EmLap is optional, and sites can choose whether to activate it. When used, it can help you identify which other members of the hospital's wider EmLap MDT were directly involved in supporting this patient's care.